Max Nation, I'm Unger to the Max, coming at you with today's episode of the Sports Room Talk Show. A salute to you. Now, before we get going, if you haven't done so already, make sure you punch that subscribe button like a UFC fighter and hit the like button with the Judas effect, courtesy of Chris Jericho. So, once we won Game 7 against the Orlando Magic and set up this Eastern Conference semifinals matchup against the Boston Celtics, I got super excited and hyped because I had been wanting to see the Cavaliers play the Celtics in the NBA playoffs for the last two seasons based off of how their regular season series went the last 2 years. In 2023, the Cavaliers won 3 of the 4 games against the Celtics. However, 3 of those games went into overtime. And then this season, yes, the Celtics took 2 of 3, but that third game here in Cleveland, which was Boston's lone visit to Cleveland in the regular season, the Celtics were up 22 points with 9 minutes left, and we came all the way back to win 105-104. So I was super excited and hyped to see the Celtics play the Cavaliers in the NBA playoffs. And then we got it, and it turned into that. It didn't even come close to meeting my expectations, and it didn't come close to delivering on my hype. Not at all. I thought every game of this series would come down to the final seconds, and there would be some controversy from the refs, and there would be a big shot from Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. There would be a big defensive stop from somebody like Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, maybe Drew Holiday. We would get somebody off the bench making big plays that we didn't expect. Stuff like that. And we didn't get any of that. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown had their way with the Cavaliers throughout this series. And when the Celtics lost Game 2 against us, I thought, okay, maybe we can come back and win Game 3 of this series. Nope. Boston promptly said, yeah, this is going to be like the Miami series. We're not going to allow any of the noise to affect us. And they just came in and destroyed us, 106-93. And I know that Game 4 ended up being relatively close, 109-102. But the Celtics were in control of that game, basically from start to finish. And you knew that Boston was probably going to win that game because we were without Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. And then in Game 5, not only were we without Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen, but we were also without Caris LeVert. So we didn't really have much to offer the Celtics anyway. But, yeah. I fully believe Celtics versus Cavaliers is a rivalry. I might be in the minority on that, but in 2008, we went all the way to a Game 7, and I still remember that battle between Paul Pierce and LeBron James. Then in 2010, the Celtics eliminated us in 6 games, and that season, LeBron decides to leave Cleveland and head down to Miami to join up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to form their Big Three to counter Boston's Big Three of Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. Then, in 2015, the Cavaliers won that series. I believe it was a sweep, but everybody remembers that series because Kelly Olynyk basically destroyed Kevin Love's shoulder and essentially cost the Cavaliers a championship, because if we had Kevin Love in that series alongside Kyrie Irving and LeBron James, of course, we would have been back-to-back NBA champions because the Cavs would have won that 2015 NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors. Then, in 2017, we beat the Celtics in 5 games in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we went all the way to a Game 7 in the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, which the Cavaliers won. So, and furthermore, the Celtics had not won a NBA playoff game here in Cleveland since 2017. And on top of that, the Celtics have not won a regular season game here in Cleveland since since November 15th, 2021. Yeah, since then, the Celtics have lost every single regular season game they've played in Cleveland. November 2nd, 2022, Cavaliers won that 114-112 in overtime. March 6th, 2023, Cavaliers won that game 118-114 in overtime. And then, of course, on March 5th, 2024, Celtics are up 22 points with 9 minutes left. And the Cavaliers said, no, we're not just going to go away. And we came all the way back to beat the Celtics 105-104. And then Boston would go on to play the Denver Nuggets in Denver, and Denver won that game in what could be a possible NBA Finals preview. But, yeah, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, like I said, they had their way with the Cavaliers in this series. We didn't have a lot to offer, and, yeah, this series just did not live up to my hyper expectations at all. Jesse Almeida, congratulations to you. I'm sure you're excited. I know you were at Game 5 last night. I'll watch your vlog. And yes, I'll leave a comment. You guys sent us to Cancun last night. Or maybe it was Jamaica. Or Turks and Caicos. Or some other Caribbean island. I don't know. But, yeah. In terms of off-season changes for the Cavaliers, first of all, I hate to say this because I don't like to advocate that coaches get fired, but I think J.B. Bickerstaff needs to go. It doesn't seem like the players are listening to him anymore, and there seems to be a disconnect between him and Donovan Mitchell. If I were the Cavs, I would go out and hire Mark Jackson because I think he was unfairly ousted from Golden State, and Mark Jackson is the one who laid the foundation for what Steve Kerr has done with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Now, I've heard that if the Cavaliers do decide to re-sign Donovan Mitchell, then Darius Garland would request a trade. If that were to happen, I'm calling the New Orleans Pelicans and I'm saying, hey, would you take Darius Garland and maybe some other bench players and a draft pick or two for Brandon Ingram? In fact, let me just expand that. If I'm Kobe Altman, the general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm calling the following teams. I'm calling the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm calling the Washington Wizards, I'm calling the Los Angeles Clippers, and I'm calling the Chicago Bulls. And I'm asking about the availability of Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Paul George, and DeMar DeRozan. I know DeMar DeRozan is a bit more of a stretch because, one, he plays for a division rival in the Chicago Bulls, and two, he's been in the league for a while. But I still think he would be a serviceable player if we were to trade for him. But I feel like Paul George, Brandon Ingram, or Kyle Kuzma would fit like a glove with the Cavaliers alongside Donovan Mitchell if we are able to successfully re-sign him. But will we be able to re-sign Donovan Mitchell? As of right now, I'm not sure. That's going to be the big thing for the Cavaliers this offseason. Do we re-sign Donovan Mitchell? And if not, when do we trade him? Because I don't think we can go into next season not knowing if he's going to leave or not. You have to come to a solution. Either sign him to an extension and get it done, or you trade him at the very latest at the trade deadline. But in terms of this series, like I said, it did not live up to my hype or expectations. Didn't even come close to my excitement level. And the Eastern Conference is just rolling out the red carpet for the Boston Celtics. This is one of the most Mickey Mouse NBA Finals runs I've ever seen. Because the Celtics, at this point, they're not going to get challenged until possibly meeting the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. That is purely and utterly ridiculous. And that's not to discredit what the Boston Celtics are doing, but for them to not be challenged in any way, not have to sweat out a series until possibly the NBA Finals, that's just ridiculous. And the Eastern Conference Finals are going to be on ESPN with Mike Breen, JJ Redick, and Doris Burke, which, no disrespect to them, but I really liked the trio of Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, and and Jeff Van Gundy much more. But that's a different subject for another day. But for them to get either Celtics Knicks or Celtics Pacers for the Eastern Conference Finals, no thanks. I'm much more interested in the Western Conference playoffs. Nuggets Timberwolves has been a fascinating series. I wrote the Denver Nuggets off after they were just completely destroyed in Game 2, and Minnesota put them in a straitjacket defensively. And the Nuggets have completely turned it around. So all credit to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Although I still fully believe Jamal Murray should have been suspended for Game 3 of that series, as he threw a heat pack onto the court back in Game 2. But Adam Silver clearly cares more about TV ratings. And then Dallas-Oklahoma City has been a fascinating series. And Dallas just went up 3-2 in that series last night, thanks to a great performance from Luka Doncic. So TNT is going to be the beneficiary of that because they have the Western Conference Finals this season, and that should be a fantastic series, whether it ends up being Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Denver, or if it ends up being Dallas, Minnesota, or Dallas, Denver, which I think is the most likely scenario, that we get Dallas, Denver. Which would be very interesting because right now the Dallas Stars are playing the Colorado Avalanche in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that would be back-to-back series between the cities of Dallas and Denver. But to circle back to my main topic, yeah, I love the Celtics-Cavaliers rivalry, and this second round series did not meet my hype or expectations at all. Not even close. So, hopefully we can exact some revenge next season when the Celtics make 2 trips to Cleveland, because it will be a 4-game regular season series between Cavaliers and Celtics. And I hope that Mark Jackson is our head coach. And I would love it if we had Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, or Paul George on the roster to go alongside Donovan Mitchell.